Hello everyone, welcome to Current Affairs for Beginners. Let's start our today's session. Before starting our today's session, let us see the answers for the questions from our yesterday's video. The first question is, which of the following statements given below is correct? National Development Bank is a multilateral development bank established by BRICS states. That is Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. This statement is correct because it is a multilateral development bank that was established by BRICS states. It is formally known as BRICS Bank, BRICS Development Bank. The second statement is, National Development Bank supports government projects only. This statement is not correct because this bank will support public and also private projects by providing loans, financial instruments and other guarantees. So as the statement 2 is wrong and only 1 is correct, the answer here is A, only 1. The next question is, Rapid Trident Exercise 2018 recently seen in news is between which countries? The answer is, it is Ukraine with NATO. This Rapid Trident exercise was launched by Ukraine and it is a joint military exercise that happens annually. That is means once in every year. This exercise will held between Ukraine and the NATO. Now let's start our today's session. Our first article is State Panels to Track Hip Implant Patients. This comes under GS Paper 2 under the topic of Governance. So from this article, now we are going to see about Central Drug Standard Control Organization and Drug Controller General of India. Central Drug Standard Control Organization is a national body to regulate Indian pharmaceuticals and medical devices. This body will regulate these pharmaceuticals as well as medical devices. Then who will give license for these pharmaceuticals and medical devices? It is the Drug Controller General of India under the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, and these two function under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And as I said that it is the Drug Controller General of India responsible to approve licenses. It will approve licenses for a specified categories of drugs like blood and blood products, intravenous fluids, vaccines and serum in India. Apart from approving licenses, what else this Drug Controller General of India is responsible for? It is this Drug Controller General of India who will lay down certain standards in order to manufacture the quality drugs. And it will also lay standards for selling and importing and distribution of these drugs. For manufacturing the quality drugs and for selling, importing and distributing this quality drugs, this Drug Controller General of India will lay down the standards. And if there is any dispute regarding the quality of drugs, then the aggrieved can approach this Drug Controller General of India to resolve the dispute. So we can say it also acts as an appellate authority to resolve the disputes regarding the quality of drugs. And it is also responsible to prepare and maintain a national level reference standards. That means these are the standards which has to be taken as reference by the drug manufacturers. And it will train the drug analysts that were appointed by the state drug control laboratories and other institutions to analyze the cosmetics that were received as survey samples from the Central Drug Standard Control Organization. The Drug Controller General of India is advised by two bodies. One is Drug Technical Advisory Board and the Drug Consultative Committee. And this Drug Controller General of India is divided into zonal offices. All these zonal offices will do this pre-licensing and post-licensing inspections. And they are even responsible to conduct post-market surveillance, and they will recall the product whenever it is needed. So to put it simply, we can say that this Drug Controller General of India is the central licensing authority for pharmaceuticals as well as the medical devices. And the next one is drugs or not sweets. This is also part of GS paper 2 under the topic of governance. So from this article now we'll see about Drugs and Cosmetics Act. What is this Drugs and Cosmetics Act about? This act was enacted by the Parliament of India in order to regulate imports, manufacture and distribution of drugs in India. The main objective for enacting this act is to ensure that the drugs and cosmetics that were sold in India are safe, effective, and they are in line with the state quality standards. And the next term we are going to see from this article is compulsory license. What is this compulsory license? Before knowing about this compulsory license, we should know what is meant by a patent. Patent, in simple terms, it is an exclusive right that was granted for an invention. And that invention can be in the form of a product or a process, which will give a new solution to a problem. And that solution should be a technical solution to the problem. Then the person who is responsible for this invention can patent his invention. It is a form of copyright to that person. And this patent is granted only for a specific period to the inventor. It is granted only for a specific period. In India, the term of every patent is 20 years from the date of filing the patent. Now we'll see what is this compulsory license. In simple terms, compulsory license is an authority given to a third party by the government in order to make or sell or use this product or the process that was followed to make that product which has been patented. That means the process or the product is already patented. The government is giving the authority for a third party to make use of this product or process and sell it. It is called as compulsory licensing. And this compulsory license will be given without the permission of patent owner. So you can ask, does this compulsory license has a legal authority? Yes. The provisions under Indian Patents Act of 1970 and World Trade Organization's TRIPS agreement is permitting this compulsory license, but on certain conditions. What are those conditions? This compulsory license is permitted only during national emergency, extreme urgency, and to prohibit anti-competitive practices like high price, which is not possible for a common man to afford. In case of India, India can also use this compulsory license to promote green technology. It is in 2012 when our India's patent office has first time granted this compulsory license to our Indian company called Natco Pharma for generic production of a drug called as Nexavar, which is patented by a German company called as Bayer's Corporation. This is an anti-cancer drug. And to grant this compulsory license, India has given 3 reasons. That is, this drug is not fulfilling the reasonable requirements of the public, and it is not available at an affordable price, and this patented invention is not working in India. India gave these 3 reasons to grant the compulsory license to Natco Pharma in India. Our next article is Routes to Afghanistan. This comes under GS paper 2 under the topic of international relations. From this article, now we'll see what is this 2x2 talks and what is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. The first one is 2x2 talks. According to a foreign policy, 2 plus 2 means a dialogue mechanism between 2 countries that is consisting of the key ministers of defense and external affairs. So now this as 2x2 talks is going to be held between India and US. So it will consist of the Defense Ministry and the External Affairs Ministry from India and their counterparts from US. They are the Secretary of State and the Defense Secretary of United States. Actually, this idea of 2x2 was drawn from Japan because Japan used this 2x2 framework to develop strategic interactions with US, France, Russia and Australia. Even India and Japan were having the similar mechanism since 2010. So what will the diplomats do in this 2x2 dialogue? This 2x2 dialogue mechanism will be a stage for the diplomats from both countries to discuss and focus mainly on the strategic and security interests of both the countries. Previously, there is a India-US strategic and commercial dialogue. This 2x2 has replaced this India-US strategic and commercial dialogue, and in this 2x2 only the strategic interests were focused. Whereas previously even the commercial discussions also held regarding the trade and the economic integration policies were also discussed. Whereas now only the strategic interests were being discussed here. This 2x2 will enhance the strategic coordination between India and US, and it will maintain peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. This is the reason why this dialogue format was initiated. And the next one is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC. It is an economic and geopolitical organization of 8 countries that were located in South Asia. Those 8 countries are India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives and Afghanistan. The secretariat of this SAARC is in Kathmandu of Nepal, and the official language used by SAARC is English. And as I said that it is an economic and geopolitical organization, it will promote the development of economic and regional integration. Our next article is 2x2 to address US issues on Iran-Russia. So this is part of GS paper 2 under the topic of international relations. From this article, now we'll see about this CATSA, S-400, Chabahar Port and Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement, and finally we'll see what is this quadrilateral, Quad. First we'll see what is this CATSA. Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. This is a United States US federal law that was imposed sanctions on Iran, North Korea and Russia. This act also includes sanctions against the countries that engage in transactions with Russia's defense and intelligence sectors. That means any country who will have transactions with Russia's defense and intelligence sectors, they will also be imposed with sanctions by United States. And it is aimed at every country that has military and energy connections with Russia. You can ask why it is specifically focusing on Russia. It is because the Russian military has intervened in Ukraine, and the other one is the Russia has involved in 2016 US presidential elections. Because of these reasons, US has imposed sanctions on Russia and also on the countries who will have transactions with Russia, especially Russia's oil and gas industry, defense and security sector, and financial institutions. So, how this law will affect India? India's Defense Acquisition Council is considering to buy S-400 Triumph missile system from Russia. It is the most advanced and modern long-range surface-to-air missile system in the world, and it is much ahead of THAAD missile system developed by United States. So, as India has planned to procure this defense system from Russia, it will come under the US sanctions under CAATSA. And the next one is Chabahar Port. Where is this Chabahar Port located? It is located on the Makran coast, Chabahar, in southeast of Iran. Here it is located. Its location mainly lies in the Gulf of Oman, and it is the only Iranian port with a direct access into the ocean. This port, with its location in the Persian Gulf, will help India to expand its maritime commerce in the region, because it will allow India to bypass Pakistan to transport goods to Afghanistan and Central Asia using sea as well as land routes. And it will provide opportunities for the Indian companies to penetrate and to enhance their business in this region. This port will cut the transport costs and time for the Indian goods. And the next one is Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement. This is the Indian version of Communications Interoperability and Security Memorandum Agreement of USA. It is one among 3 foundational agreements of USA to guide high technology cooperation in defense sector with other countries. The other 2 agreements are Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement and Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement for Geospatial Cooperation. India has already signed this Logistics Support Agreement with US. This agreement will provide exchange of logistics between each other, like spare parts and other services from each other's land facilities, air bases and ports. Whereas this Communications Compatibility Agreement will allow the United States to supply secured communication equipment to be installed in the military platforms that were being sold to India. This agreement will allow to secure peacetime and wartime communication between high-level military leaders on both the sides. And the next one is Basic Exchange Cooperation Agreement. This agreement will facilitate the exchange of geospatial information between India and US for both military as well as civilian use. Our next article is what the center has announced as initial aid is a good amount. From this article, now we'll see this National Disaster Management Plan. What is it? It comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of disaster management. We know that we had a National Disaster Management Act of 2005. It created an authority called as National Disaster Management Authority, which has the administrative control. It will coordinate the activities of disaster management. It will lay down the policies and guidelines for managing a disaster. And it is this authority which has prepared this National Disaster Management Plan in 2016. This was the first plan in the country that was related to disaster management. This plan is mainly aimed to make India disaster resilient and to reduce the loss of lives and assets. It is mainly based on 4 priority themes according to Sendai framework, like understanding the disaster risk, improving the disaster risk governance mechanism, and investing in disaster risk reduction, and to have a disaster preparedness. That means having better infrastructure like early warning systems and being able to build back. That means to bounce back in better even after a disaster occurs. And this plan covers all the 4 phases of disaster management, that is prevention, mitigation, response, and recovery. Our next article is addressing soil loss. This comes under GS paper 1 under the topic of geography. From this article we'll see what is meant by soil degradation. We know that the top soil will have most of the nutrients that were necessary for a plant's growth, and with the depth the fertility of the soil will also increase. The agents like water and wind during the rainfall washes away this topsoil, which is called as soil erosion, removal of topsoil by wind and water. So with this erosion the fertility will get reduced, and with the depth the fertility of the soil also decreases. In India, this problem of soil erosion is severe because of over dependence on agriculture, industrialization, urbanization, and improper land management. So this finally results in decline in the soil quality. This decline in the soil quality is called as soil degradation. And the next one is, we'll see here about what is this foreign portfolio investment. This comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of economy. First of all, we'll see what is this foreign investment. Foreign investment in India means the investment which has its source in any other country other than India is called as foreign investment. Foreign money can be invested in India by foreign corporates, that is foreigners, or Indian nationals who are called as NRIs. And they can invest this money in Indian shares, properties, or ownership or management, or in anything. So based on this, the government of India has classified this foreign investment into 3 types. Foreign direct investment, foreign institutional investment, or foreign portfolio investment, non-resident Indian investment. Now we'll see about this foreign portfolio investment and foreign direct investment. 2 days back we have seen what is meant by this foreign direct investment. FDI is an investment by foreign companies like MNCs to do business in India. That means it is a direct investment into production as well as management of the organization. That means they are investing to manage the organization, to produce goods and services, employ people, and to market their products. That means a foreign investor can come here and buy a new company or else expand their already existing business. Whereas this foreign institutional investors, they invest in the capital or money market in India. So they invest mainly in mutual funds, investment companies, pension funds and insurance houses. That means they will only bring capital, but they will not seek for management. They will not involve in the management. These investments are short term in nature and they will not participate in the management of a target company. They just come here, invest and make use of all the profit making opportunities available in the country. Now we'll see the difference FDI and FII, institutional investors. The difference is that they both will bring the capital, whereas FDI will bring capital, technology and management, whereas the FPIs will bring only capital, foreign capital. These are of long term in nature, whereas these are of short term in nature. We can say this because they were having long term commitments. For example, if we take Walmart. Walmart came to India and it opened up its stores. That means they have given a long term commitment. Whereas foreign portfolio investors like, for example, Warren Buffett. The company of Warren Buffett will buy shares in an Indian company. So when the price of these shares increases, they will sell off these shares at any time. That means they will only make use of the profits available in the country. And they will not come with any long-term commitment. And also the money that was invested through this foreign institutional investment can be taken very easily than foreign direct investment. And according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, an investment of 10% or above of the company shares from overseas will only be considered as foreign direct investment. And this foreign direct investment policy in India is regulated by the Foreign Exchange Management Act of 2000. And our next thing is Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. This comes under GS Paper 2 under the topic of international relations. Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership is a proposed free trade agreement, or it can also be called as Comprehensive Regional Economic Integration Agreement between 10 Asian countries and their 6 free trade agreement partners. They are India, China, Australia, Japan, South Korea and New Zealand. As I said, it is a proposed free trade agreement. That means it has not yet finalized. This agreement will cover, if it gets finalized, it will cover goods, services, investments, economic and technical cooperation, competition and intellectual property rights under the agreement. And the next one is Haqqani Network founder dies. What is this Haqqani Network? Haqqani Network is an insurgent group in Afghanistan to fight against US-led NATO forces and to fight against the Afghanistan government. It is an insurgent group in Afghanistan, like how we have insurgent groups in India, like ULFA, NSCN, all these. And our next one is anti-Semitism. What is meant by anti-Semitism? It is showing hostility, that means enmity or any discrimination against Jews is called as anti-Semitism. A person who will hold this discrimination against Jews is called as anti-Semite. Now we'll see our today's questions. Consider the following statements. Drug Controller General of India functions under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. Drug Controller General of India is the central licensing authority for pharmaceuticals, medical devices and food products. And the next question is related to FDI. FDI in India is regulated by Foreign Exchange Management Act of 2000, and to acquire FDI, the investment should be more than 10% of the company shares. Try to answer these questions and post the answers in the comment box, and we'll see the detailed explanation for these questions in our tomorrow's video. Thank you.